Welcome to Duo Reads, where we decode deep ideas and break down big books, one page at a time. Today we're jumping headfirst into a book that has truly reshaped how countless people think about money. I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. This isn't just another personal finance guide. It's a huge bestseller, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and it's now in its updated 10th anniversary edition, packed with over 80 new pages of vital insights. Ramit Sethi, often called a wealth wizard by Forbes, brings a really unique perspective. He's a Stanford grad, studied technology and psychology, so he gets the human behavior side of things, not just the numbers, which is probably why his blog attracts, over 300,000 readers monthly?
Yeah, it's massive. And our mission here is to really unpack Sethi's straightforward 6-week program. It promises to empower you, our listener, to earn more, save effectively, ditch the debt, automate finances, invest smartly, and importantly, do it all while living guilt-free. We want to pull out the most practical stuff, the real aha moments for you, no matter where you're starting from financially.
That's exactly it. And, the real value here isn't just about piling up money. Sethi frames this whole thing as transforming your financial life to find freedom. It's about having the ability to spend on things you actually love without that constant nagging worry. But also, mastering your money for the future. It's knowledge that should cut through all the noise, help you avoid feeling overwhelmed by it all, and hopefully find those breakthroughs that lead to real lasting change.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Sethi starts right at the beginning, credit cards and banking. For lots of people, these are just tools, maybe even things they fear. But the book highlights how critical they are. And he makes this bold claim: credit can actually help you become rich. That sounds, it sounds almost counterintuitive, doesn't it, given all the warnings about debt? How does he square that?
It's a really crucial distinction he makes. A lot of folks chase, flashy investments first. But Sethi argues pretty convincingly that building good credit is maybe the most fundamental step toward wealth.
Okay, why though?
Because good credit means lower borrowing costs. Simple as that. Think mortgages, car loans, everything. It can literally save you tens of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. So it's not about avoiding credit, it's about leveraging it responsibly. Which brings up a key question. Do you actually know the difference between your credit score and your credit report? Many people don't.
Right. They sound similar.
Yeah, but they're different. Your credit report is that super detailed document. Your whole credit history, payment habits, everything. Your credit score, that number usually between 300 to 850, that's like a snapshot, a numerical grade of your credit risk. And that score is absolutely pivotal for getting loans, good rates, all of it. Keeping it high opens doors.
Okay, so building good credit is step one. And he really hammers home responsible use, right? Paying bills on time is absolutely critical. Avoid carrying balances. So what does that mean in practice? For someone maybe getting a new card or just trying to manage the ones they have better to actually build wealth with them?
Well, he lays out the 6 commandments of credit cards. And they're pretty practical, not just abstract rules. More like a toolkit. First, pay your bills regularly. Sounds basic, but it's the foundation. Avoid interest charges.
Non-negotiable basis.
Exactly. Second, negotiate fees. Don't just accept annual fees or late fees if you slip up. Call them. Ask them to waive it. They often will. They want to keep you.
Okay, that's empowering. Number 3.
Automate payments. Set up at least the minimum payment automatically. Never miss a due date again. That protects your score big time.
Smart. Avoids accidents.
Fourth, keep cards active. Use them for small, regular stuff, gas, coffee, whatever, and pay it off right away. Keeps the account in good standing.
Does it have to be huge purchases then?
Not at all. Fifth, and this is key, request credit limit increases.
Why is that important? Seems like encouraging more spending.
But it's about your credit utilization ratio. That's how much credit you're using versus your total available credit. Keeping that ratio low, ideally under 30%, signals to lenders you're not maxing out your cards. A higher limit helps lower that ratio, even if you spend the same. Boosts your score.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. And the last one.
Sixth, use the rewards. If you're playing the game right, paying on time, get the perks, cash back, points, miles, free money or travel, essentially.
Right. Okay, so that covers credit cards.
Oh, yeah.
He also has some strong words about banks. You mentioned fees earlier. It feels like we just accept them.
We do. And Sethi points out exactly how banks make their money. Yes, by lending out your deposits at higher rates, but also massively through fees, especially overdraft fees. He points out they can stack up to over $100 in a single day. That wipes out any tiny bit of interest you might earn over a whole year.
Wow, that's dark.
It really is. So his core advice is surprisingly simple but powerful. Focus on avoiding fees first. That's way more important than chasing the absolute highest interest rate on your checking account. One overdraft fee can cost you more than years of slightly higher interest gain.
Which leads perfectly into something else he highlights. The big difference between online banks and traditional ones seems really important.
Oh, it's huge. Online banks, because they don't have the overhead of physical branches, right? They often offer significantly higher interest rates on savings. We're talking like 2.5%, sometimes up to 5% or even more these days. Compare that to maybe 0.5% or less at a big traditional bank.
That's a massive difference over time.
Absolutely. So Sethi suggests maybe keep a no-fee checking account at a local bank or credit union for convenience, ATMs, tellers if you need them. But park your savings in a high-yield online savings account. He mentioned Schwab Bank, others like Ally or Marcus are popular now too. And he warns us about 5 shiny marketing tactics banks use. Things like teaser rates that vanish, tricky minimum balances designed to trip you up.
Upselling you things you don't need.
Exactly. Upselling unnecessary accounts. The main takeaway is be proactive. Call customer service, negotiate fees, or just switch if they won't budge. You have the power.
Okay, so get the foundations right, credit and banking, plug those leaks. Then the book shifts to actually growing the money. Investing and conscious spending. Investing can feel really intimidating, especially for younger people or those who feel they don't earn much. What are the big mental blocks he tackles?
Yeah, it's a huge hurdle. So many people avoid investing because they think, I don't make enough, or they're scared of the stock market going up and down.
Validity, yeah.
Or they just feel like they don't know enough to even start. Sethi really emphasizes saving alone isn't enough. Investing is what allows your wealth to compound, to really grow over the long term. He quotes Einstein, saying compounding is mankind's greatest invention because it lets wealth build reliably, systematically. It's your money making more money.
So how do you actually start? If you feel like you only have a little bit extra each month, what's the first practical step?
The very first tangible step is just opening an investment account. If your job offers a 401k, especially with an employer match, that's the place to start. Sethi calls the employer match free money because it is. If they match 50% or 100% of your contribution up to a certain point, that's an instant return you can't get anywhere else.
Definitely take the free money.
Absolutely. Beyond the 401k, he strongly recommends almost everyone, especially in their 20s, look into a Roth IRA.
Okay, explain the difference again briefly, 401k versus Roth IRA.
Sure. So a traditional 401k typically uses pre-tax money. You invest before taxes are taken out, which lowers your taxable income now, but you pay taxes when you withdraw in retirement. A Roth IRA uses after-tax money. You invest money you've already paid taxes on. The magic is all the growth in your withdrawals in retirement are completely tax-free.
Gotcha. So pros and cons depending on your situation.
Exactly. But the key is getting started. Get the match, then consider the Roth or other options. Even starting small, like $50 a month, gets the ball rolling.
Okay, investing is crucial. Now let's talk conscious spending. This sounds different from typical budgeting, which, let's be honest, most people hate. It feels like a chore, right?
Totally. And Sethi gets that. He argues that standard advice track every single penny, categorize every coffee. It's often impractical. It feels restrictive, like a diet.
And diets often fail.
Exactly. You feel deprived, you give up. So instead, he introduces the conscious spending plan. The goal isn't restriction. It's about consciously directing your money towards saving, investing, but also towards enjoying spending without guilt. His big idea is that frugality isn't about cutting back on everything. It's about choosing the things you love enough to spend extravagantly on, and then cutting costs mercilessly on the things you don't love.
I love that. Spend big on what matters to you, cut ruthlessly elsewhere.
Precisely. It's about intention, not deprivation.
So what does the plan actually look like? Can you break down those categories and maybe the percentages he suggests?
Yeah. He provides a framework. Remember, it's flexible, not rigid. It's based on your take-home pay. First, fixed costs, around 50–60%. This is rent or mortgage, utilities, insurance, car payments, debt payments, the must-pays.
The essentials.
Right. Second, long-term investments. Aim for 10%. This is your retirement savings 401k, Roth IRA, building future wealth.
Okay, 10% for the future.
Third, savings goals. About 5–10%. This is for shorter to medium-term stuff, down payment on a house, new car fund, big vacation, wedding, gifts, specific goals.
Things you're looking forward to.
Exactly. And fourth, the fun part, guilt-free spending money. This is 20–35% of your income. Spend it on whatever you want, no regrets. Dining out, hobbies, clothes, entertainment.
That's a decent chunk for just living?
It is, and that's the point. It builds enjoyment into the plan. He also mentions the a la carte method for things like subscriptions. Cancel stuff you don't really use, only pay for what you actively choose, forcing conscious decisions.
Okay, conscious spending makes sense. But, managing these buckets, making sure money goes to the right places, it still sounds like effort. How does he make it stick?
This is where the magic happens. Automation. This is probably Sethi's most famous concept.
Save while sleeping.
Yes, that's the phrase. You set up an automated financial system. It takes some effort up front, maybe an afternoon, he says. You set up automatic transfers from your checking account. Money automatically goes to your investment accounts, your savings goals accounts, even pays your recurring bills once it's set up. He claims you might only need to spend 30 minutes a month actively managing finances.
30 minutes? That sounds amazing.
It's the do more before doing less philosophy. Put in the work now to set it up, and then reap the rewards of save time, reduce stress, and less decision fatigue later. His advice is blunt. Make everything that's financially important in your life automatic. Imagine getting that mental energy back. That's the real payoff.
That automated system sounds powerful. And it leads into another interesting point he makes. Challenging the myth of financial expertise. We're constantly told, trust the experts, hire a financial advisor. But Sethi seems skeptical.
Yeah, he really pushes back on that. What's fascinating is his focus on results. He says, expertise is about results. He brings up this study, you might have heard it, where wine experts couldn't tell the difference between a cheap wine and a super expensive one when they didn't know which was which.
Right, the labels were hidden.
Exactly. It's a great analogy for finance. He points out that even with huge salaries, most professional fund managers fail to beat the simple market index, like 75% of the time.
Wow. So why pay high fees for underperformance?
That's his question. It makes you think. Why do we trust these complex strategies or gurus when simpler, low-cost options often do better statistically?
So if we shouldn't blindly trust experts, what's his alternative for investing? How should regular people approach it without feeling lost?
Well, connecting back to the earlier points, he argues strongly that investing isn't only for rich people. Anyone can do it. The key is that automatic investing we talked about, but specifically using low-cost funds. Don't try to pick winning stocks or time the market. He stresses that asset allocation should be the major focus. That just means deciding the mix. How much in stocks, how much in bonds, how much in cash. That's the main thing you can control that affects risk and return.
Okay, asset allocation over stock picking. And he makes the investment choices simpler too, right? To avoid getting overwhelmed.
Totally. He's a big fan of index funds. These funds just mirror a market index, like the S&P 500. They don't try to beat the market. They just are the market, essentially. And because they're passively managed, their fees are incredibly low compared to actively managed mutual funds. And over time, lower fees mean higher returns for you.
Makes sense.
And for ultimate simplicity, like the true set it and forget it approach, he recommends life cycle funds, also called target date funds.
How do those work?
Super simple. You pick a fund based on when you think you'll retire, say a Target 2055 fund. The fund automatically adjusts its mix of stocks and bonds over time. It starts aggressive, more stocks when you're young, and gets more conservative, more bonds, as you get closer to retirement. Takes the guesswork out. It comes back to his question. Do you want to be sexy or rich? The flashy, complex stuff might feel sexy, but the simple, automated, low-cost approach is more likely to make you rich.
Okay, so you set up the conscious spending plan, automate the investments into simple funds. How do you keep it going?
Yeah.
How do you maintain the system without getting obsessed or derailed?
Right, maintenance. That's chapter 8. The main idea is pretty straightforward. Feed your system. The more you can automate into savings and investments now, the more powerful that compounding effect becomes later. Small increases make a big difference down the road. He suggests using online compound interest calculators sometimes just to visualize the growth. It can be really motivating to see the potential.
Seeing the future numbers makes it feel real.
Exactly. And revisit your conscious spending plan maybe once a year. See if you can trim costs anywhere, or maybe you got a raise and can boost your investment percentage. Small tweaks. But crucially, he says, ignore the noise. Turn off the financial news shouting heads. Ignore what your neighbor is doing with crypto.
Easier said than done sometimes.
For sure. But stick to your long-term automated plan. Market ups and downs, speculation, those are just minor blips in the grand scheme of your decades-long investment horizon. It really makes you ask, are you letting short-term fear or hype dictate your strategy? Or are you trusting the system you built?
Trust the system. Okay, so finally, as Sethi brings it all together by talking about what a rich life actually means. It's not just a number in a bank account, is it?
Not at all. And this is maybe the most important part, connecting it all back to the why. He defines being rich primarily as freedom. His own definition is something like not having to think about money all the time and being able to travel and work on the things that interest me. So it's more than just dollars. It's about living without that constant financial anxiety, having the freedom, the mental space to pursue what actually matters to you.
That's a powerful definition. And living that rich life involves navigating real-world situations like student loans or money and relationships. Those can be huge stress points. What's his take there?
Yeah, practical stuff. For student loans, he suggests a balanced hybrid 50-50 approach. Don't just pay off debt if the interest rates are low, pay some down, but also keep investing simultaneously. Balance debt reduction with wealth building.
Makes sense, especially if investment returns could potentially outpace low loan interest.
Right. And on relationships, he's very direct. Money has a huge effect on relationships. Ignoring it is asking for trouble. Open communication with your partner, with family, is critical. He actually uses the term DTR, define the relationship, but applies it to money.
A money DTR.
Yeah. Have that direct, maybe awkward, but necessary conversation. What are our shared goals? How do we handle finances together? Set expectations up front. Don't let it fester.
Proactive communication. And what about huge purchases, like buying a house?
His advice there is pretty clear-cut, maybe even conservative for some. Buy only if you're planning to live in the same place for 10 years or more. It forces you to really think long-term about that commitment, considering transaction costs, market fluctuations, life changes. It's not just about qualifying for the loan.
Wow. Okay, what an incredible discussion. We've gone from the nuts and bolts of credit cards and bank fees all the way to automating investments and defining what a rich life even means. It really feels like the core message is about building these intentional automated systems. It's not about deprivation or needing to see some financial genius.
That's absolutely right. The book keeps coming back to that. Knowledge is great, but it's useless unless you understand it and actually apply it. It's about taking control, making those smart initial choices, setting up the accounts, the automation, and then letting the system work for you. That frees you up to actually go live that rich life you've designed for yourself.
So Ramit says, a rich life is about more than money. It starts by managing your own, and it continues by helping others become rich. Which leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener. What's one small automated step you can take today, right now, to move just a little bit closer to that freedom to start living your rich life?